What's up, everybody? How you doing today?
What's going on? I'm
A
good.
lot is going on. A lot.
I'm doing
Okay.
great. I'm doing great.
What's
How you
a
doing?
lot, Kimmy? What's that mean?
Yeah, she did emphasize a lot, though,
A
right?
lot is coming.
Yes.
Y'all think a lot is going on? It's a lot going on. A lot is going on in the world. So a lot is going on. But
You do
I'm
say a
not,
lot. That's like 8 a lots. So there's got to
Yes.
be some kind of explanation with 8 a lots. Can you give me something, please?
well, I mean, I just think it's a lot going on in the world. Y'all don't think that?
That's 9 a lots. Can I ask for specifics?
I
True.
think
That's
many things are
that's
going on in the world. Like world hunger is going on.
oh,
Oh, that shit ain't new.
exactly. It
Um,
went from a
Not to
lot to
say that that's
many.
not happening, but it's not new.
Right. It's not new.
the
Yeah.
crime rate is up. That's
Not new.
okay. Well, um, sex is down in the COVID
Oh,
era.
Now,
really?
sex
Oh,
is
damn,
down.
COVID babies, pandemic babies.
Now, pandemic babies are doing a lot more than normal babies, but sex is down because guess what? People are not getting along. That's the question. Can you believe that people are not getting along? They're finding out that they're not getting along.
Well, I
I
mean, if
believe
you're
it.
talking about like being quarantined, sound like what you're saying, and you're
Not it's
starting to find out you don't know the person and the pandemic, and is that what you're kind of saying? Like, were you going with
well,
that?
I think they're past the part where they're because they're like really not in the deep quarantine anymore because people can really get out a little bit more. But I think since they're in like the next stage of the quarantine, they found that they don't like the person, but they're still, in the house with the person, and now they're in phase two. Do I stay with the person or do I, you know, move on?
Well,
You see what
sex
I'm
ain't
saying?
down. It's just sex in that house. Sex in that house is down because he's fucking somebody else, and she probably is too.
But I think that
It's
they're
just sex
Exactly.
not.
is down.
I don't think they're. Maybe they are, Mel. But I think that they're probably a little bit more cautious because of the pandemic. Because I don't think they want to go out and just be um free fucking because I don't
I'll have to say, with all due respect, Kimmy, who in the hell have you been talking to
I'm trying
that's
to
doing that?
I
tell
can.
Because nobody is.
So
They
I
are
think I should
people.
just. You know what? I forgot who I'm on here with y'all too. So
I'm saying, why we
if you think that they
no.
sticking their dick somewhere raw, you think they give a damn about COVID?
I
That's
would.
not happening. Where them statistics come from?
I don't.
That's what I
You
need to
better
know.
I
back
don't
right.
know. I don't know who they
You better
asked.
back.
Well, I don't know who they asked. This is what the statistics say that people are having less sex because they are not getting along. I'm not talking about maybe people who are just not in no type of committed relationship. Maybe they're still doing the same thing. Maybe
I agree with Mel that married, right? Married couples probably, yes. There are probably some married couples, but that don't mean that they're not having sex.
well,
But
what
as
they
a
doing?
married couple, no, I'm agreeing with
They
Mel
might not be
because
having sex with each
what you
other.
won't do, somebody else will. So what
Uh-oh.
you won't do, somebody else will. I'm gonna say it again for the people in the back. What you
I
won't
can
do,
tell y'all about
somebody else will. Okay, so
I'm just telling y'all about the statistics. Don't y'all attack and jump me. I'm just telling you about what Google statistics says. They didn't got this. Somebody hit that box on there and said, I'm not fucking that person in my house. I don't like that fucker.
I can believe that as a married couple.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can believe that. Yeah,
that's what
yeah,
I'm
I can
saying.
believe that.
So
Yeah, within
so
a
I guess y'all
household.
didn't answer it. Y'all don't believe it. So that's the answer. Okay, I agree. Y'all don't believe it. Okay, y'all don't believe it. Y'all two don't.
Because
Well,
think about it. I saw a statistic that said that less than 10% of couples have admitted to not having sex within the past year with each other. Because you're going to assume they haven't, that when they talk about it, it's with each other. But that doesn't
Wait a
mean
minute,
people are
repeat
not
that
having
again.
sex.
I'm
Because
confused.
it said less than 10% of the couples have admitted to not having sex within the last year.
Okay.
But they didn't say the words for Jay, for the people in the back, what they didn't say is with each other. because I'm sure they're having sex. That man ain't coming home whistling Dixie and you ain't fucking him in a year. Come on, he fucking somebody.
Well, I will tell you this though. I mean, I'm gonna just speak from the I term. I don't put it out there. When my marriage was really going down, it was a long time before I stepped out, and we were in a period of about a year and a half, 2 years, where she shut it down before I stepped out. So for about 18 months or so, you know, I was like, damn, you know what
It
I'm
was just
saying?
using your
Lotion.
hand.
I was taking care of myself, yeah. And right in front of her too, you know. But
What the hell?
yeah, exactly.
And was
Right.
she
So
looking at you?
yeah, I'm like, this gonna get you gonna lay over there. Cause every time she would turn me down, I would roll over in the bed and like, yep, yep, it's gonna be some nut right in the bed. Because you deny me, you know, this is some bull, this is some straight up bull. You can't just be, you know what I'm telling you, ladies, stop doing that. Ladies, do
Yeah.
not neglect the relations of the relationship, you know, and this is so again, you know, it started with basically the um menopause hot flashes. Okay. And I'm a very understanding patient dude. I can't help the way I look, but I am. But when you not
But
on
you look
menopause
unpatient.
and yeah. So when you're not though, is when you used to be goddamn it, like, hey daddy, come on and get this pussy, daddy. But it was never that. It was more and more turned down, turned down. So what happened is I became like desensitized to rejection. And it just like did something to me, you know. So I'm like, okay, hell, I'm gonna stop being rejected. I'm gonna stop approaching.
So
You
I
know,
guess we're
and
already in the topic because we're talking about sexless marriages today.
yeah, and
If
this is
anybody want to know, we're talking about sexless marriages.
sexless marriages, right, right.
Sexless
So this is
marriages.
front and center factual experience here. So it did it just like, and then once you fall off that cliff of no return, it's a wrap, you know. And I did try like the last 3 months before I actually left the house, before she really put me out, changed the locks. The last time, you know, how you at the kitchen and I walk up behind you, you know, you be cooking, you know what I'm saying? You know, you like the brother to come, especially you fresh out the shower and I got that good cologne on too. Man, she shot me an elbow so hard, so freaking hard. And I'm telling you now, I'm still in pain behind that shot. That it was the clear indicator she did not want me to ever touch her again. And that's what she said. And, you know, so 3 months later, you know, the relationship was over. So that time it was 3 years of no sex. But about a
With
year
her.
prior to that, yeah, 3 years was no right with her, because about a year prior to that, after a year two, because 18 months I didn't step out. But after that, I was like, I told her too. I said, what you won't do, another woman will. Now you're gonna push my ass right out that door. Keep right on, you know, thinking you can hold a pussy hostage and all that shit. You're gonna push my ass right out that door, you know. And I did. And that's what actually happened. And it ended up being with my ex-wife of all things, right? So, you know, that was another problem in our relationship. You know, we shared, we had plenty. That wasn't the issue at all, you know. So that's why I never understand couples that really truly are attracted to each other and have the desire for each other. Why would you stop being intimate and being romantic and being loving and all those things like that? Why would you stop that because you were
Women are
having issues
different.
otherwise?
Women are different. They're
Well,
different.
my ex-wife wasn't different than hell. We were still having
She
sex
wasn't
even though
fucking
we were having
somebody else, so
problems.
she just was still attracted to you. That's what the bottom line is. So, but
So that's what I'm point. That's
women
my
are
whole
different.
point.
Men are
When
different.
marriages become sexless, I think you have to identify what the real problem is.
Yeah,
Because if you
it's
getting it
another
in, if
problem. It's
you
not
getting
this.
it in, and then all of a sudden you stop, you got to identify what the issue is. Now, obviously, one woman was going through menopause, but sometimes it's not menopause. Sometimes it's something else. Maybe you piss on the toilet too much. You know, maybe you just dribble too much. Who knows? Or yeah.
Anger.
or something you said that hurt her, or something
Yeah, but
that
see,
she feels insecure
right.
about, or something like that.
Yeah.
Or on the flip side, him, like his balls are getting too long. I don't know, but you got to really start looking at what the reason is why you have a sexless marriage.
Yeah, because it may not even be you. It may not be the man. It could just be a self-esteem issue. Like, women go through a lot of physical changes during menopause, you know what I mean? And that could stop the confidence in the woman, and it don't have anything to do with the man. And the man probably have to do extra things to make them feel a certain way, to help them feel more comfortable. Menopause is rough. It's really rough. And I'm not saying that, it's now that man's responsibility to put all of the blame on them where they have to do that. But honestly, the woman has to do things on her own to help bring herself to a point where she's happy with herself as well, because a man cannot do that. But menopause is rough. It's really rough. And that could shut it down. I mean,
women are not always sexless because they're in menopause. There are young women that are suffering from like postpartum, and now they've got that mommy.
I'm just saying menopause in general, because there's a lot of factors. I'm just saying being in menopause. But if you go to your gynecologist, they will talk you through different things, but you got to be willing to discuss these things. You can't just try to fight sometimes battles by yourself. You know what I mean?
See, this is what I was about to say. I want to make two quick comments. One, first to what Mel was saying. I thought y'all like long balls. I didn't know that was a bad thing.
I don't want no damn long ass balls hitting me from the back and then it's hitting my stomach.
I thought they swing up and be hitting, that's all. The swinging up, you don't like that. Okay. But
Jay, somebody lied to your ass.
The other thing, well, I don't have them, so I'm glad I don't.
Oh, okay.
But the other thing is, Kimmy, what I'm saying is that with menopause, understanding that that is something beyond your control. Will, want, and desire should be present in a relationship. Okay, if this is the person that you really will, want, and desire, so you shouldn't be, menopause don't take your attraction away from me. I understand that in that moment, let me finish. Can I finish, Kimmy? Because I have talked with women that have, and they still in the moment. So I can't finish. So I can't
finish. But I'm just saying, because with the direction you're going,
I still can't finish.
No, you can't, because you're talking about something that you cannot relate to, because
you're not letting me finish. You're not letting me finish. You're not letting me finish. You're not letting me finish, Kimmy. Because I don't have to go through
perspective that doesn't it's not relatable, Jay, and that's I'm just all.
So you're telling me that, okay, so what you're saying is that once a woman hits menopause, then her sex life is going to be completely over.
That's not
She's
what
not going to ever have sex.
All.
Okay, so what I'm saying then is that there are women out there that still learn to manage their sex life within the menopause, because when it goes away. So why are you coming off from me saying that? That's all I'm saying.
I wasn't saying.
You're saying, have I experienced that? I don't need to experience it. I've talked to women, and I understand that women can still manage it when it's not on. But if you still desire and you're attracted. That's what I'm saying.
Has nothing to do with a physical.
You're missing my point. I'm saying understand when it happens, because I experienced it.
Your mind can say one thing.
Let me finish.
Your mind
let me ask you this
one
question.
thing. No, because I have to have this point, Jay. Your mind can say one thing. You can be physically attracted to that person, physically attracted, but menopause is a actual physical debilitation, because when I say you may have
I understand what it is. I'm asking you though, when the symptoms go down, when the times that you're not flaring, you're not, it's not all 24 hours and 7 days a week. I understand that. Okay, but what this? So now it goes back to my other point. So it goes back to my other point. So if women, once they listen to you, to what you're saying, once you have menopause, then you're not going to have sex anymore.
That's not
so
what
this
I'm
is
saying.
why. So this is what I'm saying. That the women that are still having sex.
Then I'll come
so
in.
Thank you.
So
what I'm trying to say is, so the women that are still having sex apparently have figured out that, hey, I still can have sex while I'm going through menopause by me doing this. That's the will, want, desire. So you figure out where and how I can still have sex with my husband during menopause. I understand it is physically challenging, and what it does, because I watched it and I experienced it. But I've also talked to women that said that they have, with my wife. I did. My ex-wife was going through it. I
Mhm.
felt the heat and all that stuff. So what I'm saying is, but then when it wasn't flashing, and the other times that you could go ahead and do something, maybe you can't have the same amount of intercourse, but if the will, want, desires there, Kimmy, the women that are still having sex are figuring out how to manage it because their relationship, they don't want their marriage to be sexless. So this is what I'm trying to say is that I don't buy the whole thing just because you have a menopause, then you can't have sex.
That is
I don't
typical
buy it.
for a man to say something
But
so senseless.
so
So
I asked you the
senseless.
question. You said no. Are
So
women that
senseless.
have a menopause? So
To
are
say
women that have
something.
a
Okay,
menopause
are you
not having
finished saying
sex?
what you're going to say so I can say it?
That's my question.
Okay, so
Are
now
women
it's
now
my
that have
turn
a
to talk.
menopause? Are men that have a women that have a menopause now? Are they no longer having sex? That's my question.
That wasn't a question. I'm going to respond to what
I'm
you
asking the
said.
question though. I like to
No,
know. I
I'm going
like
to
to know.
respond to what you just said. Okay, menopause is not a light switch. Okay, it doesn't come on Tuesday and go off on Thursday. It's a period that can last over 15 years. It doesn't consist of just having hot flashes. It doesn't just consist of you having just mood swings. You know, it consists of things happening to your vagina. Lots of things happen. And when you say managing, you going through it, you can't go through it physically because you're not a woman. Now, when I
I'm
say,
saying the woman managing it,
can I
not
get to
me.
finish? Can I get to finish?
Well, you know, I
So
mean, but I gotta say that you saying I
let
know, I
me
know I can't
finish.
manage it.
Let me finish.
Well, clarify
So
that, Kimmy. I mean,
when
yeah.
I say this, I want you to have understanding. So when a woman is trying to manage, because I say manage menopause because they manage it because it's such a long period of time that they go through it. If they're taking something to try to manage, because you can't shut it off. It doesn't happen like in sporadic.
Right. We know that. You can't shut it
Okay,
off.
so
Okay.
that's what I'm trying to tell you. To satisfy their man, I'm telling you this, Jay. That's not how it works.
So how does
They
it
go
work?
to the.
So that's
They
my question.
go. May I
How does a
finish?
woman that's going through
Can I finish
menopause
what I'm
have
saying?
sex?
Can I finish what I'm saying? Do you understand that vaginal dryness can come from that, where it becomes physically painful to have sex? And that's coming because they have no more estrogen in their body.
So is
So
Might
this
when
be
you
every
able to
woman on
cut it
function.
off and
menopause?
cut it back on, and you
Is
say
this
because no, I'm
okay?
giving you facts. These
Okay,
are
so is this
facts.
every woman on menopause? This is what I'm
This is
asking.
No.
You're
I'm talking
giving
about
me the worst case scenario.
menopause because when you
Okay.
say for your man, cut it off and cut it on. So I'm
Uh,
telling you. So
Who said cut it off and cut
when
it
they
on?
try to manage it to keep a marriage from becoming sexless, they have to do a lot of different things to get there, Jay.
Okay,
Lot.
so that's my
And
point. That those different things that you do
sometimes it's
consist
not a
of.
one fixed type of
I
situation.
didn't say it's 1/6. I'm saying, Kimmy, your point, great point. Those things you have to do require your will, want, and desire. And this is what
Absolutely.
I'm saying is that if you still have the will, want, and desire for your husband, that the communication and understanding will be there.
Sometimes you
That
may not even have
so
the ability to do that.
okay,
I
so I'm
agree with
asking you
both
again.
of you. I agree
Sometimes
with
you may
both
not
of you,
have the
but
ability to do that.
I want to make a point here. I think that like right now, I don't know if I'm in menopause or not because my pussy is still very wet. So I don't
Absolutely. But
know.
she may not have that. If someone else
So I may
may
not
have
have
that.
that issue. However, my will, want, and desire doesn't necessarily come from a specific person. It's about me. I still want to continue having sex. I still want to continue being intimate. So I'm going to do the things that I need to do to make it happen. Now, if there comes a time where it's physically impossible for me to do it, there are other things I can do because sex just doesn't consist of the vagina. I've got a few other orifices.
I mean, that's
So
like
I'm
99%.
uh
Well, if
it
it's a
depends on
pleasure
who
to
you
her,
speak
she
of.
may want to have anal sex. She may not care about having vaginal sex.
Yeah, especially if it's super dry. But my point
Hey,
is that there are ways to do it. It's not always physically possible, like Kimmy said, for everybody. And back to
And that's true.
just in general, having a sexless marriage, you really have to get back to figuring out what is the problem. And I think there's more issues than menopause. There's more issues than, oh, it's painful because you knew that dick hurt when you first got with him. So you got to really think about that. Like you're going to marry a man and you really can't have sex with them outside of it being menopause. So, I mean, that's not fair. But then there could be some intimacy issues. Maybe he's not good in bed. Maybe he's lacking all the drive that he had previously, because now, you know, people get settled. They get into a marriage or a long-term relationship, and they done sent their representative to get you. And now this other motherfucker shows
Woo.
up and he's lazy fucking. He don't, all he want to do is
Wow.
fuck from the side.
And maybe
So
he's
who
a
wants to do
Wow.
cheater,
that?
and then you just feel turned off because he's a cheater. You know what I mean?
Or she's just not turning them on anymore. Maybe she's
Yeah, and
just
then she
not
just
doing the same things that she
that
used
she
to
did when
do
he met him,
in
and
the
he did the same
beginning,
thing
right?
for him. Or
You
he's
know,
a
maybe she
cheater.
wearing them
You know what I mean?
raggedy ass drawers instead of being sexy,
Oh
you know?
Well, if she's
But
It-
I just,
if she's wearing the regular ass dog, then why would he didn't? I guess he's not having sex with her then, because it's not.
probably not.
He's
But
not having sex with her. That's the opposite then.
I
So
decided a long
understand,
time ago that I wasn't going to play pussy games in any relationship. So if we had an argument, we didn't have to have makeup sex. If you wanted sex, you can get it. Because I don't think that you should play those games. I don't think you should
exactly.
withhold sex,
Right.
because then he or she starts to know the pattern. And
yeah,
then,
the pattern will start.
you know, and then that becomes a problem. And then the length of time that you're not having sex gets longer and longer and longer. Then you
Yep.
fall into that
Yep.
sexless marriage.
Fall off the cliff. There you go. It's a wrap then.
Let me say this for somebody who's been married a pretty long time. Marriage is you, like with anything, you have to work on marriage. And I'll just say this, and I hope Celeste doesn't get offended. Celeste was married for a long time, and she had sex every single day. Jay, I think you remember when Celeste used to tell us this in previous episodes. Every single day when she was married, every day. Every day, like it was a routine. But at the end of the day, she was physically like almost like a job. You see what I'm saying? So when it was all over and done, it almost caused like like resentment. You see what I'm saying? So some people lose that, and it brings baggage into your future relationships. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes a sexless marriage means, like you said, you got to work out your problems so you can get back to where you used to be. Because with any marriage, you go up, you go down, and you figure out things, because everything is not going to be a flat plateau. Never. It's going to be
Never, right.
never.
But
Because
I definitely agree.
you're going to have to figure out what has happened to make things go. Sometimes people have a sexless marriage because somebody is sick. You know what I mean?
Well, I guess you know what, and that's something I'm kind of glad you mentioned it, because I think there are probably some categories that would fall under sexless marriages that would be the no-brainer of why
Right.
they're sexless. You know what I'm saying? That kind of goes without mention, like sick, you know, something like that, or physical ailment or whatever, or you know, no longer can just get it up. You know, that's something that. But thinking about those that are still healthy, still, you know, vibrant, still able, and all of that, but you're not having sex, it is something that stems from your relationship
But there
issues.
is still
Definitely.
people that have like
Yeah.
disabilities and are not in their best health. Like Mel say, find other ways to still have sex. And
Right. Yeah.
they found
And
alternative ways to have sex. You know,
then
just because we look at sex in one way, people find alternative ways to have sex when things come up in your life that has rerouted what is the norm. So when we say sexless, that means that all means have cut off. You know what I mean? And there is no,
right.
you know, we're not having sex.
You ain't doing nothing.
We're not
You know,
doing
brother ain't getting no hand jobs or nothing.
Yeah, because maybe you have to, somebody may be a paraplegic now, and they now depend on,
Damn.
I hate to say stuff like that because that's horrific. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
But
horrific.
I mean, it's horrific, but it's also reality. You know what I mean? It's reality. So if that's the wife, she probably still wants to do something for the husband or something, but her mouth still works. She still can have oral sex with the man. And it may sound cruel, but I think that a person would appreciate that, vice versa. You know what I mean?
It doesn't sound cruel to me. I'm just
saying, I wouldn't want anybody
yeah,
to take it offensively, Jay. You see what I'm saying?
yeah.
I know that people find alternative ways to express themselves sexually, and it doesn't have to be
So
traditionally.
so for the sake of this conversation, we're all in agreement that we're at least talking about healthy, able-bodied people, married couples, right?
Don't have
That
to be
this
married.
is
No, they don't have to be married
well, I
to
thought
be
it
in a
was sexless
sexless
marriage.
Oh
relationship.
yeah, that's right.
Oh
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, y'all just
Well,
confusing
we
hell out of
said
me. And
marriage,
I ain't just
we
I'm
said marriage,
saying,
but we also have to be cognizant
I
of
mean, committed relationship or
same-sex,
whatever. I'm just saying, are we
same-sex
talking about
marriages and things
healthy,
like that.
able-bodied people that are very capable of still having sex and everything still working and all of that?
Okay,
And
yeah,
that's,
that's
I think that's all right. I just want to make sure we're on the same
okay.
page on that. Okay,
So we
cool.
we
Because
we agree on some things, we disagree on some other things, but I guess from the
no,
male.
I just wanted to go back to what I was simply saying is that when you were giving me your scenarios of the menopause, I understand everything you're saying. I'm saying that there varies, it varies on the degrees and when you can try and work something out and when you can't. But my whole point is whether it's oral, whether it's, you know, uh, 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 playing with each other, whatever, the desire to do something satisfying for your mate should never go away,
Well, the point I was
even
trying
if you
to
have
make
a healthy relationship. So what I'm trying to say
is
is at
that,
some point in time you'll figure out something if you still desire and have an attraction and love for your mate. That's all I'm trying to say.
well, I understand what you're saying, Jay, but the point I was trying to explain too, being in menopause sometimes brings other ailments too, like depression, anxiety, and things like that, that inhibits you from maybe relating to your mate. You see
Okay,
what I'm
so you're
saying?
countering me now. I
No,
understand
I'm
what you're
just
saying.
being
So
honest
I
with you,
understand.
because
You're countering me.
you're saying that your desire to be intimate with your mate should almost circumvent what your physical body is doing because you love your mate and you should want to do that. But menopause strikes so many things in the body, even mentally. Like
So
a
what
person
I'm
has
saying is now,
postpartum when
so
they have a
whatever I
baby
say,
and
I
things
see you're
like.
going to counter it,
No, I'm
basically.
not going to
I
count.
got you.
I'm telling the
Because
truth.
I just said, Kimmy, in some way, whatever way. So I know that there are extreme cases.
I'm just
I
giving
know
you
that there are
my
extreme
truth.
cases. I agree with you. That's what I was
Yeah,
agreeing
I'm
with
just
you. So
giving
I'm
you
just being
truth.
encouraging. I know that, but I'm saying there are more than one truth, right?
Yep,
There's
and
not,
I'm just giving.
everybody's not the extreme case. I'm saying you're
That's
giving me the
not extreme.
extreme case.
That's not extreme.
Well, whatever the case you're telling me, that's not the only scenario. Okay.
Yeah, but
I'm
that's
speaking
the
of the
truth.
scenarios. Huh?
That's just the truth.
Okay, but isn't there more than one truth? That's all I'm trying to just
Have
make the
y'all
point of.
considered
That's all.
marriage
But that's not countering. That's
where
just
people
telling you
don't
the
necessarily
truth.
care about being intimate with each other?
That is
Yeah.
true. You can't, right? You no longer desire. It's like I don't care no more. I don't care about that. I'm done with it.
No, it's
We
not that
just
they
go through
don't
the motions.
desire each other. It's not that they don't desire each other. It becomes less important, and they're still very happily married.
Like my grandparents, they got to a certain age. My grandmom and grandpa thought that, once you get to this certain age, you should have your own separate rooms and separate beds, and that's the way life was supposed to be. And they were good with it until they died and left the world.
So there's a superpower acting couple who I personally believe aren't intimate with each other anymore. But I really believe that they truly love each other. I don't believe that they're intimate. And
who are you talking about, man?
Will and Jada. I don't think they're intimate with each other.
Crazy.
But
well, why would y'all think they're not having sex though?
I don't know, because I think that one person is hypersexual and the other person is just broken. So
okay, but I'm saying, but
I don't think they're not having sex.
I said that's my opinion, but they clearly still love each other. very, very much. And
Yeah,
are
I think
committed
they
to
really
marriage.
love each other. I think they do.
So I think there are situations like that. And maybe it's not even them, but look at for how it looks from the outside. So it may be a situation like that.
Well, that's
where
what
they're
I'm
each-
saying. How does it look from the outside? I don't know
Looks like they're
what
each
have
off
y'all
doing their
seen
own
that
thing.
says they're not having sex?
I don't
It
think
looks
they
like
don't
they're
look
each
like.
doing
I
their
don't think
own
they're not
thing.
having sex. I think that if they have sex, it's not as often as people would probably think as a married couple. But I think that they
Well,
are
how often
intimate
should a
with.
married couple be having sex? That's a good question.
Oh
How
God.
often should they be
Um,
having sex? I mean, you
3
well,
just
times a
made it
week.
I
sound like,
wouldn't use
I
them
mean,
as
I don't know.
I wouldn't use them because they're stars and they probably travel so much, so they're seeing each other is probably limited. But I would think that in their circumstances, Jada even admitted, she's still in a phase where she's trying to figure out what love is, so it's a lot of,
That don't mean you won't have sex. There's a lot of people, you don't have to
but
be in love to have
she's
sex.
hypersexual. She's a very hypersexual person.
So
So
what is the answer? I
to
like this
what?
beat.
How
You
often?
said that, right, because you're saying, they're
Why
not
does it
having
have to
sex
have
as
a
often
number
as
on it?
couples. Because you're saying that they're not having as often as married couples should. So
Because
as I
I
said,
said
how
they're
often should
stars and
they?
they're probably traveling a lot. Will is on set
So
different
how
places
often
all
should
over.
couples be having sex? That's a pretty
I
relevant
said, why do
question.
you have to have a number to it?
Well, for you to say
So
they're not, you got to be thinking of
I
something.
just
Like
gave you a reason why they're not, because they're
they
probably
could
not
still
having
be
sex
having sex
all the
every 2 weeks,
time.
even though they're traveling. They could still be
okay,
having
so
sex once
there's
a
a
week,
statistic that
right?
says that couples should have sex as a common baseline at least once a week. But it also depends on your age group, because older couples have sex slightly less, young couples are having sex slightly more. So that's one of the factors. I mean, I personally heard
Some
something one
older
time that it should
couples.
be about, yeah, well,
I
there you
think it
go.
should be at least,
Um,
I think it, like you
3
said, like
times.
in your age group, I think it should be like, I'll say like in the 40s and 50s, I think at least twice a week. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's bullshit. I
mean,
think that's bullshit,
maybe
but
people are doing it
Are
more.
you saying that's a low number, Mel?
I do. I think that's very low. Because remember, as you get older, you've got more years behind you than you
And
do
you
in
get
front of you.
better.
And
Yeah.
and like I said
I
before, I'm not
think,
gonna waste my good
well,
wet pussy years just laying around.
that's a personal choice.
There you go.
That's a personal choice. So
I'm only speaking for me now. I can only
she's
speak for me.
speaking for you. If you want to have it 12 times a day, if you could have it 12 times a day,
On my day off,
on
but
your
not,
day off.
but
So
I'm not gonna miss no
whatever
work.
works. But you're not gonna wait 2 years or wait 5 years,
I'm not gonna wait 1 year.
because
Not 1 year.
that changes your body dynamic. If you wait that long, it physically changes your body dynamic as a woman. I don't know what it does for a man, but it physically can change your body dynamic. But I think this was a good episode, except for Jay he's telling me off. But
Ho. Now, wait a minute. Hold it now. I'm going to defend myself. What? Telling you off? What are you talking
I
about?
think
I
you were
ain't
telling me
you
off. Whatever. But
I ain't not telling you off. What?
whatever. But I mean, still, at the end of the day, good valid points. I will hope that my marriage never turns into a sexless marriage, because I think as I got older, I think intimacy is more important to me than the actual physical act. I think that me being intimate with my husband is more than the physical act. I think that means everything to me. To each his own, whatever gets your boat floating. I mean, no, do I want him to just not have sex with me? No, I don't want to be in that category, but I'd rather be intimate with him every day. I like to be hugged and kissed and all these things like that, because that keeps that keeps a bond between us. But
That
that's
leads to good sex too.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Them hugs and kisses.
yeah, because I
Yeah.
ride in the car. We ride. I'm like, I act like an
Rub
old
my
woman now.
head. But I do want to say this though, Kimmy. I think that being married for the right reasons and really knowing your languages of love and y'all having that is so important, that through anything, the tough times, the health issues, whatever it is, just stress levels or whatever, you will find ways to, try to keep your marriage intact. If you really are with somebody, you got the same languages of love, or at least mostly have the same languages of love, because you're going to have that equal yoke as far as desire and, like you just said, intimacy. Obviously your husband enjoys that as well. But for those couples that got married for the wrong reasons, and you want intimacy and he ain't feeling the intimacy, it's going to be issues. And then, like, you were saying, Mel, when something comes along like menopause, it really ain't about menopause. It's about other issues.
Mhm.
Down the menopause is just kind of like the scapegoat, because it was already other issues there. So ultimately, I think, just being married for the right reasons, and keeping that focus, is what's gonna, keep your marriage healthy. And if it's every day you want to be intimate and sexual, then you hopefully you with somebody that they can bring it like that, every day, if that's what you desire.
Absolutely, because
Yeah,
time will always tell.
yeah, and that's it. And father time is
Will
undefeated, fellas.
always
So
tell.
your dick gonna die before you do. So
Why
you
do you keep
better
saying that?
you better keep using it. And ladies, first thing in the morning, jump right on it, because that's a good time right there. It's a good time. Jump right on it
Say
early
that
in the morning.
oh, Lord have mercy. I hope yours
That's a
last.
good time.
I hope you 95 years old and it's still working. Cause
I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I'm sure am. You better believe it.
I hope
It's a
it.
lot of older couples out here that are still very active, and I know that there are a lot of, and it's funny,
Oh
Kim, you talk
God,
about that. My grandmother didn't like that too, though. They slept in separate rooms because that's something kind of traditionally taught, that you seen, that you experienced, that you saw
my
coming up.
mom told me
But as
that.
times have changed, yeah. But as times have changed, but I can remember as far back as being a teenager, which I'm trying to get the age difference. I'm 58 now, so my mother's 91. So mathematically, that is what, 40, 53 years, no, 43 years difference.
30,
30.
Yeah,
30 some
33.
years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so your mom's in 90 and
So
no
so
40.
anyway, no, when I was like 17 or 16, I was home, and I walked in, and my parents were having sex in their bedroom. So they didn't know I was here. So, they were in their 50s at that time. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, hey, listen, it's your house. You married, you should be. You kids gone, do what you got to do, right? I mean, it ain't like, you know what I'm saying? We all been there and done that. So I look back on that. So I don't know how often they went from that point on. I never heard them again. But I know there are probably older couples out here that are still very active. You know what I'm saying? That's a good thing. You
Well,
know,
just okay.
everybody.
All right.
Kimmy, you done heard your parents before.
No,
Or Snow. I mean, I'm sure somebody done heard their parents before, getting
I just
down.
I never court my parents, and I'm glad I didn't have that vision in my mind because I never, the way you remember, Mel, how our houses was set up.
I don't know how y'all didn't hear it.
Well,
Mel,
yeah,
you never
but
heard your people? You never heard your people,
no.
Mel? Yeah, there
My
was only
people
one
got
time.
divorced. My people got divorced early, so never
And
heard
that way,
them.
Okay.
and my dad wasn't playing with us with that kind of stuff. He was like, you better, at nighttime, it was like a strict routine up in our house. You better just play like you sleep, and your ears didn't work either. So you just better have,
Right. Ignore it. But you know what's crazy now, y'all? That this is so sad that this society, this generation, they won't ever be able to say that, because there's, don't nobody hold nothing back. They don't care. The kid be in the other room playing the PlayStation. They're gonna be doing what they got to do,
no,
and
that
or
is,
they right in the bed with them. Right in the bed with them now. Those kind
yeah,
of,
because you know how your
yeah,
parents was. Our parents was all like that. We went through strict routines. Like you wasn't sleeping in the bed with your parents. You're going up in your
right,
room.
right,
You gonna stay there. You could be
yeah,
scared as hell, thinking that the boogeyman's in your room with you. You could be in there petrified. Got 1 hour
yeah,
sleep and went to school on time. You know what I mean? It was none of those
right.
things going on. Now, all stuff goes on. You be like, okay, but so that's probably why I didn't hear that. And like when I said about my grandma actually told me that she's like, when you don't get your period no more, that means that don't supposed to be working down there. You stay in your room and he stay in his room. I was like, really? I don't really think they're supposed to be like that, but I'm just going, and my
But see,
grandma,
wasn't
somebody
sex
told
back
her
in the day
that,
just for production?
huh?
Wasn't it just for, like, way back in the day? Wasn't it just really for reproduction, sex back
That's
then?
it.
Unless you went to the whorehouse, you know, the little
what?
juke joint, the
What?
little juke joint or whatever.
Yeah,
But
but
it
my
wasn't
grandma
like
was going up
you
in no juke joint. I mean,
right. But I'm just saying, you know, but marriages were not like the intimate kind of thing. You know
no,
what I
it
mean? Like
wasn't none of that. I never
you
saw
only
my
had
grandpa
sex
kiss
because
my
you wanted to
grandma.
have children, huh?
I can't even remember I seeing my grandma kiss my grandpa. I just,
Right, exactly. See,
yeah, I
that's
never
my
saw
point.
that.
Right,
Yeah, none
right.
of that stuff.
So you really wouldn't expect them to
Yeah.
want to sleep together anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's like
And my
they never
grandfather was
really.
kind of rough. Mel, remember how my grandfather looked? My grandfather was kind of rough
Mhm,
looking, and like
mhm.
he got put in this little single bed with like a little burlap sheet. And my grandma, her bed was all nice and fresh with the nice linen. I was like, God, I guess
Oh
she was
God.
waiting for that for a long
Right.
time to put him
Wow.
over there. But you know, whatever, it's like you said, it was only meant for one thing. Like my dad used to say, your breast is only meant for to feed a baby. It wasn't meant for, entertainment purposes. So, things have changed tremendously. So,
Yes.
And thank God.
Entertain me. Thank God for that. Yes. Entertain me. You
Right.
know. Yes. They ain't got to be no Dolly Partons, but they got to be there.
well, I'm just gonna be quiet on that subject because I ain't grown up until after children. Well, so I'm just gonna say, which is
Ain't nothing
yeah.
wrong with the itty bitty committee, ladies. We
That's
love
what me. I was
ladies
just
in the
a
back.
little nipple. I
You
was
and
a nipple
anybody in
girl.
the itty bitty titty committee. Much love and respect to the itty bitty titty
That was
committee.
me.
I'm just
That was
saying.
me. That's all right. It was the way it was supposed to be. So oh well.
Right.
This was a good
I guess
episode, y'all. So any final thoughts on the sexless marriage, Mel?
I'm out.
Oh,
Sexless marriage, I'm out.
okay. Jay?
Figure it out. Figure it
try to
out,
find a
or I'm
way.
out.
Try to find a way to make it work. You know, I just like y'all said, sex isn't just intercourse. So hopefully you can find a way to make it work. But you know, if the towel's been thrown in, it's really more than sex. So
Exactly.
if you can't figure it out, then you got to move on. It's simple as that.
Y'all just talking about divorce now. Damn, it done went from sexless to divorce. Oh, okay.
Well, that's
No,
what it
I'm
leads
saying
to a lot of times.
figure it out, or for
Then you got to
me,
move on.
it's figure it out, or I gotta go because I didn't intend to be in a sexless marriage
I mean,
or relationship.
honesty is everything. Honesty is everything. And I think a lot of times people are not honest with themselves. So, good point. All right.
Another
So,
topic, another day. Why is divorce rate so high now? That would be another topic, another day.
oh
Because of
yeah.
sexless marriages. Just joking.
People don't, I don't know. I think that's probably a good one to explore because I don't know, people are less tolerant. I think that's a big one. People are less tolerant. If you're in a sexless marriage, you ain't just stick around and just suffer it out because there's people that have done it and stuck with the person or maybe just cheated till they died. You know what I mean? And just, I still do know people that are in marriages and they are living like separate lives, but they are married, still married
You
to
said
someone else.
cheated until you die.
Isn't that like what you're doing? You just cheat till you die. You got somebody else. The law.
So you just never stop cheating. You just cheat.
No,
You
just
have cheated your whole entire marriage. You just never.
your whole
But
entire.
it's sad. I just actually know somebody that was like that. And why are you still married to that person? You're not having sex with that person, and you
Because they
got a
don't want to pay the
girlfriend in a
attorney.
whole other house.
They don't want to pay the attorney. That's what they don't want to pay the attorney fee, so they just cheat till they die, and that's the way it is. But okay, so join us next Wednesday for our next episode. Again, this episode was not to offend, but we always are here to empower. This is Let's Chit Chat Sis. Catch us on our social media page, Let's Chit Chat Sis. I am your girl Kimmy, and joining me tonight is
Ramel.
It's your boy JB. Yeah.
have, have a good night.
Peace.
Peace.